What's going on, YouTube? I'm back with another video. This time I'm going to be talking about yet another way for you to get clean audio into your recordings or your streaming using specifically an iPad or an iPhone, but I'm sure you can do the same thing, and there are certain workarounds for Android and other devices as well. But I came across a couple of things that I just had laying around the studio, and I've been experimenting with a lot of different methods. If you look at my older videos on this page, you'll see that I've done ways of recording the audio separately and syncing it up back in an iMovie, or even using the TRRS to TRS adapter. But I found something that I was using for another purpose, but it works great and it allows me to get very clean audio into my recordings on my iOS devices. Okay, so this is what I'm doing to get clean audio into my iOS devices. I'm using this device right here. This is an adapter that basically goes from Lightning connection to USB 3.0, and it also has a power port so you can charge your iOS device while you're using this. I bought this device a couple years ago because I was using MIDI devices to control the apps on my iPad that I was using for making beats. So these apps that I use, they allow you to give MIDI input, and in order for me to, the way for me to get that MIDI input into those apps was to use this kit right here. It's also known as the Apple Camera Kit. I think the only difference is when it's labeled Apple Camera Kit, the USB port is like 2.0 instead of, you can get a specific Lightning to USB 3.0 adapter. And this is a really cool adapter. Like I said before, it allows you to also charge your iOS device while you're using this adapter, because this adapter takes up the charging port when you're using it. So it's really handy. It allows me to connect my MIDI devices such as the Launchpad and the Launch Key Mini. These are the devices I use when I'm making beats on my iPad or my iPhone. It just connects right in, right there, and then it would go into the Lightning port on my iPhone or on my iPad. What I was doing after I did some experimenting, because you can also connect a keyboard to a USB keyboard with this. You can also connect a mouse with this. So you got a lot of things you could connect. So what I tried next was to connect my USB soundboard. I used the Mackie Pro FX8 V2, and it has a USB port on the back that you can connect to a computer, and this is what I use to connect to my second computer when I'm streaming with a laptop. I use that as a sound card, but you can also use this as a sound card into your phone or your tablet. Okay, so let's get into it a little bit more. Let me show you exactly how this process works. So what you do is, and this is something I had to find out through some trial and error and some reading on the internet to see how the people were able to get this working. So what you do first is you connect the adapter to your iPad. Then you open up the camera app. I'll move it to video. And then I'm going to connect, this is the USB coming from my Mackie Pro FX8 mixer. And I'm just going to connect it. And you probably didn't hear it, this mic didn't pick it up, but once you plug it in, you hear a little bit of audio. You hear, like, you can tell something's been connected through your mixer, like using my studio monitors, I can hear that. So you will really hear, and you'll really know whether you're recording in from the mixer. Once you hit that record button, you're going to hear a little bit of change in the sound. It just happens momentarily, and then you won't hear this on the recording. So let me see. Let me hit record. I could hear that ding that you hear normally that would come from the iPad when you hit record. I just heard it come from my studio monitor. So that just gives me a reassurance that I know I'm using the mixer as the sound card. You heard a little bit of a hiss as well, and that sounded like the switchover probably internally from its built-in microphone sound card to the external one. It's just a guess, I'm not sure, but something definitely happens. The audio switches once I connect the USB lead, and then definitely when I hit that record button. Okay, so this is the mixer that I'm using for my sound card that I'm connecting to the iPad or the iPhone, depending on whichever I'm using at the time. And basically it's a regular studio mixer, or line mixer, where you can just connect all your devices into it, but this gives you so much more control over the sound that you're broadcasting. As you can see here, I've got multi-band graphic EQ, so I can really tailor the sound to what I want it to sound like. You've got your high, mid, low controls as well. Right here, I'm cranking my gain up. I've noticed that my first couple of recordings using this, the volume was a little bit low, so I'm practicing, or I'm working, experimenting to see what the right levels are for me. But other than that, it's just a regular mixer. This is the Mackie Pro FX8 V2. There's a USB port on the back that I connect the USB cable to, and from this cable right here, I just connect it to the Lightning to USB adapter, and this goes into the iPhone or the iPad. In this case, it would just go into here, and you can record and get your audio into your device that way. So we'll do a quick comparison. I'll do a recording. I'm going to switch over to using the iPad, and we'll get some audio from that, and you can see exactly how clear the sound is using this method. Okay, so here we are. I switched over and I'm using the handheld mic because what I'm doing is I'm running everything through the mixer board, and then the mixer board is going to route everything into the iPad using the setup I just showed you. So you're getting quality audio from my mic, which is running through the mixer board, and now I'm going to play some music with the mixer, the DJ mixer, running into the mixer board as well, and you'll get to see just how good the sound quality is. Alright, so there you have it. I got quality audio coming in from my whole setup, and this doesn't just work with a large mixer board like that. You can also use a smaller audio interface as long as it's USB class compliant. That will allow you to connect those interfaces like a Focusrite Scarlett interface or M Audio, M-Box, or something like that to get audio directly into your iOS device. So you can use something that's portable, small, and easy to carry, not necessarily as big as the mixer board. I'll switch over back to the other camera to give a little wrap up and a couple other little things I learned in implementing this process. And so there you have it, folks. This is, I think, the most efficient way to get good, clean audio in to your iPads or your iPhones when you're streaming devices like this. I mean, it's designed to hook up to a USB device. If it's class compliant, it will most likely work. If you're wondering what a class compliant device is, I'll explain that really quickly. Basically, it's a device that has the software or the drivers already installed into whatever you're using. Usually it's your PC or your Mac, but it also applies to the iPads and the iOS devices. These devices, a USB class compliant device doesn't need external or another piece of software. It doesn't need a driver in order to work. You just plug it in and it works, plug and play type stuff. So this can be something smaller than this big mixer that I'm using, and this is not even a huge mixer, but you can use another USB audio interface like the Scarlett interface by Focusrite. M Audio, they make a box. Behringer makes a small USB audio interface as well that I think runs for about maybe 50 bucks. So these are inexpensive things. This device right here, I'll put a link to it in the descriptions and you can see where to buy it. I think I paid around 30 bucks for this, but I bought it directly from the Apple store. There are third-party vendors that do make these, but you kind of have to pick and choose. Usually I stick with brands that I know, like Belkin or even Target. So if you see those brands, you might try to give those a shot and see if they work, and they might be a little less expensive. But I already had this laying around. I was using it for other purposes, but this fits right into my flow, and I think it really is the best option to get a good clean sound into your recordings or your live streaming. With that said and done, I think we've come to the end of this video. I hope you can use this. I hope it made sense. If you had any questions about what exactly I was doing, or if I skipped over part of the process, let me know. Hopefully I will pick any of that up in editing when I'm putting this video together. So if I do miss a step, just let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the video. With that said and done, I'm out. Peace.